What is up, guys? This is Hillary and welcome to The Comfort Zone. Before I jump into the video, I just wanted to take a second and introduce myself. Again, my name is Hillary. I am 26 years old. I am from the Sunshine State of Florida. I was actually born and raised in Salt Lake City, Utah. I have been in Florida for about 6 months now. Me and my family moved here just to be closer to family. We got a bunch of people out here that we wanted to be closer to. I kind of packed our shit and here we are. So the book I'm going to be talking about with you guys today is a book that is very close to my heart, and you'll start to understand why as I kind of go through it with you guys. But the book is Conversations with the Fat Girl by Liza Palmer. Before I start talking too much about it, I am going to read a couple of comments from different authors and different magazines that are inside the book. The first one is actually on the cover right here. It says, "Engaging and Poignant and Heartbreakingly Real" by Jennifer Weiner. I couldn't have put it better myself. This book is exactly that. And one of my favorite quotes is from the Denver Post. It says, "Delicious, a jelly roll full of fun with only half the calories." And as I kind of talk about it more, you'll kind of understand why that's kind of funny. So the thing about this book is that this is a fiction story. This book is in no way a true story, but as I'm reading it, I am starting to have a hard time believing that this isn't a true story, just because of how real it is, how raw it is, the scenarios that take place, the dialect of the conversations between the characters. It just makes me believe that this is either something that the author experienced herself, or she saw it happen to somebody else. Maybe it was a story that she was told that inspired her to write this story. I don't know, but I have a really hard time believing that something like this didn't happen, just because of how relatable it is, how real it is. It's sad, it's heartbreaking, but it's also amazing. Like, it's a beautiful story. I absolutely love this book. The story is based around a woman named Maggie. She's 27 years old. She is living in Pasadena, California. She went to college. She has a museum arts degree, but she's actually been working at a coffee shop named Joe's. She's been there for a couple of years. The coffee shop is actually owned by someone that she went to high school with. He was like the star quarterback, big popular guy in high school, and now he owns this coffee shop that she's working at. And in high school, again, in the story, she is an overweight woman. And same thing back in high school. She's gradually gained weight since high school, but even in high school, she was a larger girl. And he was one of those people that would make fun of her, tease her. He was someone that she would avoid because he made her feel uncomfortable, because he made her doubt herself. He made her feel unworthy. And now she is working for him at this coffee shop. This coffee shop, there is a guy named Dominic. Now, Dominic has kind of stolen Maggie's heart. But the thing is, Maggie has never actually talked to him. I mean, they've had a hi, hello, passing, while passing, because they're working together. So they've had that coworker communication, but they've never had like an actual conversation trying to get to know each other. And so Dominic doesn't really know Maggie exists, but she has developed this huge crush on him to be the golden boy. Now, she has done this with all of her crushes. Keep in mind, she's never had an actual relationship with anybody. She's just developed these very big crushes, if you will, on these men. And she never does anything with it. She never makes herself appear available. She never moves forward with anything. So she just creates these scenarios in her mind of the perfect person. And the downside of that is, and I think we've all done this, when you develop a crush on somebody, you kind of put them up on this pedestal as this perfect person. And she does the same thing, but anytime one of them does something even slightly odd, like one of the guys that she used to have a crush on wore a really strange pair of underwear, and that was it for her. She was like, nope, done. He's not perfect. I don't want him. She holds every person in her life up to this standard. And so that's kind of a downfall to Maggie, because it's ruining relationships, even potential relationships, because she has at some point in her life decided that if someone's not perfect, they're not worth it. And that's kind of one of the things that starts to bring out your first emotion about Maggie. You're just kind of like, woman, don't think like that. Like, I found myself getting frustrated. Like, you can't keep thinking that way about all of these people, because it's not even just the people that she's interested in romantically, but it's her friends, it's her family, it's her mother, it's her sister. She starts to think negative thoughts about these people if they're not up to this perfect standard, and it gets frustrating throughout the book, and she kind of carries that on up until the last little portion of the book. Now, another character that you get to meet at Joe's is a young woman named Pettigrew. I'm pretty sure that's how you say her name. I could be way off, but I'm pretty sure that's how you say her name. But she is a woman around the same age as Maggie, and she's a different character. Her appearance is more like edgy, more alternative. She's got the crazy color hair. She dresses a little bit differently, but Maggie has kind of grown fond of her because she just radiates confidence. She's confident in everything that she does. She communicates very well, and she has also adopted Maggie as kind of like her friend, her project in a way. She recognizes that Maggie is seriously lacking in confidence, that she does everything that she does is very withdrawn, very held back, and so she's kind of taken Maggie on as, like I said, as like her project. She's trying to bring Maggie out of her shell, and she recognizes that Maggie has this crush on Dominic, and so throughout the story she's encouraging Maggie to move forward, to do something with that. Now we'll get to that a little bit later, but that is the first friend that you meet in this story, a friend of Maggie's that you meet in this. Now, another friend that you meet soon after in this story, and you don't necessarily get to meet her, Maggie just talks a lot about her at the beginning. Her name is Olivia. Olivia is Maggie's best friend in the entire world. They grew up together. They went to high school together. They met at about 13, 14 years old. I want to say it may be even younger than that, but no, it's about 13, 14 years old. They were in high school together, and back in high school, Olivia was a lot like Maggie. Olivia was a very large, very overweight woman, or girl, I guess I should say, and in high school, Olivia was actually bigger than Maggie. Olivia was what was considered to be obese. She was a very large woman. But the difference between Olivia and Maggie is that Olivia still had confidence. She would wear clothes that brought attention to herself, versus Maggie, she would wear clothes that covered her up, that weren't flattering, that would just hide everything that she didn't want people to see. Olivia was the opposite. She would wear very bright colors, clothing that would draw attention to certain areas, and she was very confident in doing that. And that was something Maggie was always very jealous of, because she wanted to have that confidence, but she also didn't understand how Olivia could have that confidence because she was also a larger girl. And so after high school, of course, they're still really good friends, and a situation happens where they're on the bridge in Pasadena, California, and a group of guys drive by, and the girls are standing on the bridge kind of looking over, just talking, and a group of guys drive by and they scream profanities, if you will, at the girls. And it was at that point that Olivia decided that she wanted to change. So she undergoes several gastric bypass surgeries and she loses a ton of weight. And she's finally becoming that person that her and Maggie have always dreamt they wanted to be. Her and Maggie always talked about becoming these slim, beautiful women, having the perfect man, having the perfect life, having the house, having the wedding. That was always something they always talked about while they're sitting there eating Nachos Bel Grande from Taco Bell. I relate. After all of these surgeries, Olivia has kind of found herself again. Not that she even really lost herself. She has just this newfound confidence, more than she had before. Because, like I said, Olivia was still very confident. She was very her. That's just how she was. She was loud, boisterous, and that was just always how Olivia was. But after having all these surgeries, it became more. She found herself. She found this new confidence in her body. She had all these surgeries. She was looking great. She was feeling great. And so she ended up moving away. I want to say she moved to Washington, D.C., but now I can't remember to save my life where it is she moved to. But point of the story is that she moved away. Maggie stayed in Pasadena, California, where she was born and raised, and her best friend moved across the country. Moving across the country, Olivia developed this fake life. She met a man named Adam. Adam is a doctor and he is the epitome of beautiful. He is the golden boy. He is absolutely perfect in every way. He makes a lot of money. He has a great job. He's great to look at. He dresses nice. He has the nice clothes. He goes to all the nice restaurants. They go on these extravagant vacations. It's everything that the girls have ever talked about. Olivia falls head over heels for this guy. Well, after a couple years of dating, Olivia and Adam decide that they're going to get married. Now, this story is mainly based around Olivia, her wedding, and Maggie being the maid of honor in the story. Now, at this point in the story, Maggie has a whole bunch of stuff going on. She's battling the changes with her best friend and her best friend getting married and the role that she's going to play in the wedding. And it turns out Maggie is getting kicked out of the place that she is living. She's living in a pool house behind some mansion that this horrible rich lady owns. And the woman who owns the house that she's living in decides that she's going to tear down the house and she is going to turn it into some big addition to her pool, is basically what she's going to do. And then on top of that, she is, and I know things just keep piling up for this poor girl, but she has this desire to lose a certain amount of weight before Olivia's wedding. Now, Olivia's wedding is coming up fast. It's like a month and a half away. And so she is struggling with wanting to lose all of this weight. She wants to be comfortable in the outfit that she has to wear, the multiple outfits she's going to have to wear. And so throughout the story, you're kind of in her mind a little bit. You're gathering that she is obviously very uncomfortable with herself. She speaks very low of herself. She looks in the mirror and she feels horrified, which, I mean, I can personally relate to a lot. I'm someone who struggles a lot with my weight, something that I've struggled with for a long time. So I relate to that aspect of Maggie, which makes this story even more relatable, at least for me. I know not everybody can relate to that, but for me, that's one of the things that made me love this story so much, is because I could relate so well to that aspect of the story. Another big character that I had forgotten to mention before, but there's not really much importance for this character up until now, although this character is in the story throughout the entire book. But this character is her dog, and her dog's name is Solo. Now, Solo is a very standoffish dog. She has a lot of behavioral problems. She can be aggressive towards people. She doesn't do well with other animals. And so, on top of everything else, Olivia decides that she's going to put her dog into behavioral classes. And when she takes her dog to her behavioral classes, it just as much of a class for Solo as it was for Maggie. And what I mean by that is, as she is going through the class with the trainer, she's getting kind of frustrated with the trainer because the trainer is making all these assumptions about her dog because her dog is so shy. So the trainer is kind of taking some mental notes and verbalizing these things to Maggie as they're going through. And so what happens is that the trainer is working with Solo, and she goes and stands between two blue buckets. She's got treats for the dog, and the dog, and as she'd been working with Solo, Solo's starting to realize, okay, I might be able to trust this lady. She's got treats for me, so of course I want to focus on that. So the trainer goes and stands between two blue buckets, and as Solo is approaching her, so instead of going straight to her, Solo has to stop and check out these buckets. She's very questioning. She's questioning these buckets, like, what are these? Why are they here? This is new. This is different. These weren't over here when we were working on it. What is going on? And so the dog has to, of course, check out these buckets, see what's going on, and then she brings her attention back to the trainer and gets the treats, sits, stays, whatever the trainer is having her do. And so the trainer comments and says, this dog has trust issues, basically. And Maggie's kind of like, excuse me, my dog has what now? And she gets kind of offended by that, and the trainer explains to her that she is not trusting of the environment that she's in. These are just normal blue buckets. They're nothing crazy. They're nothing threatening to her, but she still felt the need to check them out. She needed to figure out what they were about before she could even consider getting her treats, before she could give her attention to the trainer. And that kind of hits Maggie because she is the same way as her dog. She relates to her dog in that aspect because she's very untrusting of everything and everyone. She's very hesitant to check out new situations. She's hesitant to do anything because she's untrusting of everything. And so that is kind of a turning point in in this story for Maggie. And so from this point on, Maggie has decided that she is going to kick the blue bucket. She doesn't want to have these same problems anymore. She wants to rise above that. She wants to be better. She wants to feel better. And so at this point in the story, she is forcing herself to have this newfound confidence. So this entire book is... It's an emotional roller coaster. I mean, you go from being very frustrated with the main character, Maggie, because she's being irrational, or she is making inappropriate comments, or she is just speaking so low about herself. But at the same time, it is so relatable. Some of the emotions that she's feeling when she's talking to Olivia, her best friend, who's going through all of these changes, or when she is having these conversations with herself, basically, about her feelings about Dominic, or when she is at the gym working with her personal trainer and she's incredibly embarrassed by the way she looks doing some of these exercises. Like, it's incredibly relatable, especially for, again, like I said, someone like me who struggles with their weight, who struggles with their self-confidence. It was very emotional, but it was also very beautiful. It was very real. I loved every second of reading this. This is one of those books I sat down and I read in a day. Start to finish, I sat down and read the whole thing in a day because I was very engaged by it. I was feeling very in touch with Maggie throughout the entire story. And Maggie, throughout the entire story, she is going through scenarios that are very real in life. I mean, she has to move out of her house. She gets kicked out and she has the short time to figure out where she's going to live. She is battling with getting the confidence to approach this guy that she has very strong feelings for. She is trying to decide how she is going to handle the situation with her best friend, because her best friend is becoming this person that she doesn't even recognize anymore. And I feel like that's something that we can all really relate to, because at one point or another we have dealt with something like that. And I feel like this is one of those books that even if you're not somebody who struggles with their self-image, or if you're somebody who doesn't struggle with their weight, or maybe you're on the opposite side of the spectrum where you want to gain weight rather than lose weight, I feel like this is a story everybody can find some sort of relation to and feel good about reading, just because of the message that's behind it. It's a story of self-empowerment. It's a story of kicking the blue bucket and really embracing who you are and fighting to become the person that you really want to be in a positive way. Really embracing all of the negative things that happen to you, not letting it get you down, but instead letting that be the reason to keep going, to keep pushing forward, to keep rising. That is something that I always say, one of my favorite terms in the entire world is "you were born to rise." That is something that I live by. That is something that I tell myself every time I'm feeling low, every time I'm feeling like there's no point. Anytime I'm just really struggling, I have to tell myself, honey, you were born to rise. And that is something that I feel like this book really touches on. It's just a very empowering, very beautiful read, and it's something that I would encourage anybody to read, man or woman. It has some really great messages that I feel like anybody could really use. And I mean, this book touches base on a lot of different aspects. It shows the progression of friendships as people get older, as people get into relationships. It touches base on, like I said, it touches base on self-image problems. It touches base on mother-daughter relationships. It touches base on sibling relationships. There is so many real-life situations that this story touches base on that it's really a good read for anybody. Well, that is it, you guys. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button down below. And if you really like this video, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you never miss a post. I had an awesome time talking about this book with you guys. I look forward to seeing you next time here at The Comfort Zone. See ya.